Oh, hello, YouTube. We're back again with the Talamaska Season 1, Episode 2 recap. So Episode 1 kind of threw us into the action. We've met our main character, Guy, and Episode 2 kind of furthers that action because it starts off almost directly right where Episode 1 ended. And I'm not sure how exactly to feel about things yet. It's still very early in the series, although we are a third done. There's only 6 episodes. There's a lot of plot moving forward here. I wish we got a little bit more clarity on things. I don't know. I will explain. Let's just hop into the episode and what happened. As established in episode 1, Guy's birth mother that he thought was dead is actually alive, and the Talamaska has something to do with it. And she was last seen in London, and he's got to go to London, which is conveniently where the Talamaska wanted to send him. Guy shows up to Helen's office like, hey, I'm in, but guess what? I have conditions. Like, 1, you're not allowed to lie to me ever again. So it's at this point that I'm already like, oh, honey, like, that ain't never gonna happen, ever. Like, I really genuinely cannot tell if Guy is just incredibly naive or if he's playing chess here. I don't know how many steps he is ahead, if at all, because right now he seems like so fucking dumb. Like the smartest dumb person, because obviously they're gonna lie to him and he won't even know until it's too late because his entire life has been a lie orchestrated by the Talamaska, and he's like, oh, if I join, you're not allowed to lie to me. And even Helen makes a face like, oh, honey, I'm lying to you right now. I'm like, anyway, sorry, it's not the best way to start the episode, for me at least. There's no time to dwell on Guy's irrational conditions here because they gotta get to stepping because things are afoot. So Helen and Guy, they immediately start putting together his cover story. Like, basically, hey, you accepted the job at the fancy law firm, but, like, you're gonna take a leave of absence because you had a mental breakdown and now you're in London. We're gonna say there was a death in the family and, like, a cousin got you, like, an apartment out here and that's why you came here to get your shit together. And then when Guy eventually gets to London, his main objective in all of this is to, use his telepathy to see if he can figure out what the hell is going on at the London mother house because they seem to have gone rogue. At this point, we've already met Helen. We know she's kind of shady and she has been, plotting out Guy's life since always. This is like the moment where I'm like, is Helen even the good guy? Because there's a lot of little plot points here that don't make a lot of sense if you put them into a certain context. Like, for example, Helen has never kept any Talamaska database record of Guy Anatole. He's been completely off the books this entire time. Why? Why is he her pet project? He's a telepath. The Talamaska is gonna know about them. Even she figures out, if you go to London, the Talamaska is going to take an interest in you. They're gonna know you can read minds. What? Do they not know about him or do they know about him? How deep cover is this? And also, Helen is sure there's something wrong at the London mother house, and Helen needs to work on her own to figure out the corruption and stop it, and she can't involve any of the higher ups, which, I mean, yeah, we've all seen a spy thriller before. We understand that, but we haven't seen the inner workings of the organization to know if that's true. From other spy thrillers, we get what's going on here. However, in the context of the show, that doesn't necessarily make sense because we don't know how the structure is set up. We don't know if the higher ups care, if the higher ups even think London's gone rogue. We don't know any of that. We just know Helen has a vendetta and she is incorporating people into it. I don't know. Helen obviously has ulterior motives. Whether they are altruistic or not is to be seen. But I'm very suspicious of this lady, But in the meantime, they gotta get this show on the road. So they take Guy and, they do the admin stuff. They set up his, computer access. They do some basic training with him. And then they take his laptop and they put all these Talamaska files in it that he has to, log into. And then he just has to read about things he's gonna have to do. You know, no infield training. Just like, hey, read a paragraph about how to tail someone instead of practicing it all. They are sending this kid in with nothing, basically, because they only had a week to do all the things they would have taught him in a year. So already it's like, honey, this kid's gonna get himself killed. He's dumb. Like, this is just a bad idea on so many levels, but regardless of how dumb it is, doesn't stop it from happening. So they've done all they can with Guy for the meantime. They set up his backstory, they put him on a plane, boom, off to London he goes. But let's put a pin in that because we finally get to see some of the London mother house for now. And it definitely seems as if something is rotten in the state of Denmark, so to speak. We had that whole like train accident in the very first scenes of for episode 1. Obviously, the civilian police are looking into it. However, they have nothing to go on here. They just have, well, pieces of Soledad's body all over the place that look like they had been chewed on. So, they could be animals chewing on the corpse. We know it was revenants eating her. But, yeah, the cops are just like, well, this lady stepped in from a train. Let's pick up all the pieces. Like, they're kind of useless. I'm not even sure why they're in the plot at all here. But that's good for the London mother house because they don't want to have to deal with regular law enforcement. That being said, they still need to get to the bottom of what the fuck was going on here. The head of the London mother house, this guy named Greg Owen, is following some leads. Now, in the book, Greg Owen was not the head of the London mother house. It was actually a character named David Talbot, who they just don't have in the show. We've never met David Talbot. I'm wondering where he is. David is a huge fucking deal in the books. David ends up in a throuple with Louis and Lestat, for fuck's sake. Like, he's a big deal. Why isn't David here? But anyway, this guy Greg Owen is in charge apparently. And from what they have learned so far is that the night of the break-in, Soledad was at a club with this poor schmo, Talamaska Asian guy. And, you know, sexy girl's interested in you, you're not going to ask a lot of questions. So they dance, they have a good time. She picks his pocket, steals his ID. That's how Soledad was able to break into the London mother house. So obviously, poor schmo here is like, well, shit, I didn't do it on purpose. Like, she stole it from me. However, that is still a major fucking breach you let happen. So Greg Owens is like, hey, you're getting demoted. Which, like, honestly, I'm on Greg's side here. Like, yeah, you fucked up, homie, real bad. You're getting demoted. Like, that seems like a good, reasonable response to this. However, Schmo doesn't take it very well. He's like, no, you know what, Greg? You used to be cool, but you're not cool anymore. Because you know what? It's new guy's fault. There's all of these security cameras everywhere. He's spying on us all the time. So it's you. And he starts mouthing off to the camera. You did this. You're like ruining the mother house and like and I'm suspicious of you. And new guy that he's yelling at who's watching this whole thing on all of his security systems that he's installed all over the mother house is none other than Jasper, our enigmatic American vampire. So we don't learn a lot about the London mother house, but we do learn something is rotten in the state of Denmark here. There's tensions. Why is there so much security? Why has Jasper taken over? Something is going on here. They say it has something to do with the 752. Again, we haven't really been introduced to what the 752 is and why it is so important. But enough with the London office. Let's get back to Guy. He gets to London. He's trying to settle in and, you know, play out his cover story to the best of his ability. Guy gets the shittiest job as a barker for a peep show. And none of the women who work there are very interested in working there. They are the most lackadaisical, like whatever kind of strippers you've ever seen in your life. But anyway, it's Guy's job to get guys in off the street to go see them. So shittiest job you can get. And he's just kind of settling in, goes out to like the corner pub for a beer and a meal at the end of the day, wherein we meet generic pretty girl who comes and sits next to him at the bar, and she starts talking to him. She's flirtatious. She's basically the manic pixie dream girl of everyone's fantasy here. And she introduces herself as Kevis, which is a unique name. I've never heard of someone named Kevis before. Maybe it's a name in another culture or another language. I'm not sure. Now, we only really know like two things about Kevis. One, she is very, very interested in Guy for some reason. And two, she's got this conspicuous old book in her backpack. That's it. That's all we know. Like, if I were Guy, I would be like, why is this pretty girl talking to me? I've done nothing. I work at a peep show. But no! Guy can't think that far ahead and be like, oh, this is suspicious. But anyway, they set her up to be the perfect manic pixie dream girl with a interesting book in her bag. They basically baited the lure here, and they're like, come get it, Guy. She's like, hey, I'm going to a nightclub later. She draws like a map to the nightclub on his hand, and she's like, you should come see me later. And then just bolts, leaves mysteriously, leaves him wanting more. Because of course, Guy is gonna go to the nightclub. Obviously. So he goes to the club, he sees Kevis, and you know, they're kind of sexy dancing, they're kissing, they're having a little bit of action here. And then this woman appears out of nowhere. Like, we know from like casting that her name is Olive. I think she's likely supposed to be Guy's handler in this situation, but she's also Miss Steal Your Girl, apparently, because she just walks up and starts licking Kevis. She didn't even say hello. Nothing, just walks up and licks the lady. But Kevis is into it. So Guy's like, oh no, like, I guess this isn't gonna happen. But guess what? Things take another turn, and turns out New Girl and Kevis both like Guy. So Guy's like, oh my god, I just got to London and I'm gonna be in a three-way? This is the best fucking night of my life! However, a three-way is actually not meant to be, because Olive only joined this little sexy dance party because she needed a way to talk to Guy. And Olive whispers to Guy that he is in so much trouble, and then just bails. Just leaves, no help. Just like, hey, you're in trouble, bye. So, again, not helping Guy. And Guy could construe that in a lot of ways. Like, oh, this girl's trouble because she's hot. Or like, you're in trouble, like Talamaska's on to you, bud. He doesn't know how to take this, but he's kind of digmatized at the moment because Kevis is still there and still super into Guy. So he's like, all right, no three-way, but I can have a one-on-one here, and I'm okay with that. So Guy and Kevis, they go back to his place. They're having like wild sex. Like, good for them. I'm glad they're having good sex with each other. Everything's consensual. They're having a good time. There are strange moments during the sex because Kevis also says, like, I'm breaking the rules by being here, like saying that right in his face whilst in the act, which is an odd thing to throw into a sexy situation, but she obviously says she's breaking the rules. And then later on, after they're done and Guy is asleep, she's laying there and she's kind of feeling guilty, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry. She just says she's sorry. And then she leaves before he ever wakes up with nothing but a post-it on his forehead to remember her by. Honestly, the post-it on the forehead, chef's kiss. Like, that's just funny to me. But yeah, so she bails. She broke the rules and she's sorry. That's all we really know about her. I think we all knew immediately, like, she was Talamaska and there to, like, get a bead on him. Like, is he up to something? I don't know. I'm Sexy Girl here to investigate. It's pretty obvious, I think, to everybody except for Guy. But anyway, the next morning, Guy finds his first real clue. It's basically Guy was not supposed to have contact with really anybody in the Talamaska while he's there. He's very deep cover, but he does have a handler who will kind of get into contact with him with like secret clues, like inconspicuous things, and he has to follow him and decode them to get the messages he needs. And the very next morning, he's at work and he gets his first clue. Basically, there was an X-made in tape on this little like flyer for a stripper with a code on it. So he's like, this is a clue. So Guy takes his stripper flyer with the clue, and he follows it, and it takes him to this park. And he finds the next clue, which is like a burner phone, and with another clue on it, which takes him to a third location. And then finally, he finds like this packet that has information for him. So he grabs it, he goes to a fourth location to try to kind of decode it. In the packet, there's a picture of a Talamaska operative and also a coded message. And basically, they want Guy to go on a recon mission here because the operative that they called in, they only ever call in when they need something found that no one else can find. So be it a person or a thing, whatever, this guy's a finder of things. And again, I feel like this is a clue here. Like, they're obviously looking for something. They're gonna say it's the 752. But they could also be looking for a person. Maybe Jasper is looking for Raglan James, aka the body thief, who, by the way, Raglan James gets kicked out of the Talamaska for stealing. So, I obviously, like, I just feel like it's really obviously a prequel to The Body Thief here. But anyway, they call in operative Mr. Finder here. And Guy, he basically just tracks him around town. Not very well, frankly. Like, this guy is a trained operative. And Guy isn't very good at following people. He's just read 3 paragraphs on it and thinks he knows how to do it. Bless his heart. But regardless of how shitty he is at tracking and not being suspicious, he does track the operative to this restaurant and a meeting in particular with Greg Owens, who is, you know, head of the London Mother House, and good old Jasper. Guy is listening in as best he can. We don't really learn anything here. I don't even think he heard anything here, frankly. They kind of cut to commercial and come back. I feel like this is a missed opportunity to give the audience a piece of information where we could have something to go on here besides him just following a guy. Like, what did they talk about in the restaurant? We don't know. It's weird that Guy doesn't know. You know what I mean? But anyway, we don't know what they talked about in the restaurant, and Guy, he's still following Mr. Find It, walking behind him all throughout London. Not very good at it. He's like the only other guy on the street. And like, if the guy turned around, he could see him. Like he's just lucky Mr. Find It didn't turn around. Or on the other hand here, we see the marionette strings again because Guy obviously isn't very good at this, but they're letting him think he is good at this. Like, maybe Mr. Find It is just letting Guy follow him to a certain location where they want Guy to be. There's no way Mr. Find It didn't know he was being followed, essentially. He's an operative who's been doing this for a long time. He knows he's being followed. It's just a matter of whether or not, like, he's letting him follow him. I don't know. We don't really get that answer, but likely I feel like Guy is just being manipulated every day of his life in everything he does. Eventually, Mr. Find It, he goes into this apartment building, top floor, and Guy follows him. He's down the street, and he's like listening in, and he can hear Mr. Find It and this woman fighting. And while they're just fighting verbally, it's one thing, but then things start to get physical. And, you know, Guy hears her scream, and he has 2 options. 1, do his job, which is to not engage and leave. Or 2, he has a conscience, and he's like, well, I can't let this lady get killed, so I don't know what Guy thinks he's gonna be able to do. Like, he doesn't know how to fight. But anyway, Guy goes into the apartment building after, you know, this lady and her screams. So Guy goes into the apartment, which is conveniently now dark. There's no lights on or anything. He's wandering around the apartment, and the first thing he sees, oh, Mr. Find It, very dead. Someone cut his throat. Okay, this is a problem. And then he hears a creaking and he's like, oh my gosh, there's someone here. And there is someone here, but they're not walking around because he kind of opens a door and he sees a woman who's hanging. Like, you know, someone hung her. So Guy goes into the room to see who this woman is. He shines his flashlight up and wouldn't you know who it is? Kevis. Dead, hung. He just slept with her the night before and she is already dead. Obviously, Guy is very shaken up about all of this, and there's nothing for him to do here besides run like hell. So he runs away. He gets away from the apartment. There are 2 dead bodies. He's like, whoa, I did not sign up for this. So he runs off into the night, And that's kind of the end of the episode. I feel like we have missed a big key detail here, especially, I mean, I get why Guy wouldn't pick up on it right away. He's freaked out that the girl he likes is now dead. But how are both of them dead? Like, if she was hung and the guy's throat was cut, they couldn't have done it to each other. You know what I mean? Because if he hung her first, how did she cut his throat? And if she cut his throat, how did he hang her? You know? So obviously, there is a third person here that we do not know about. Who is the third person in the apartment? I think this is a big deal that we will need to solve for later, because right now, what the fuck is going on here? So at the end of episode 2, we are 1/3 of the way through the whole season. It's only 6 episodes. And right now, I see what they're doing as far as like spy espionage thriller, which is fun. I do like a good spy thriller, but the other side of it is also that I see all of the strings very obviously. Like, there's so many manipulations that are just like, yeah, fucking duh. You know what I mean? Obvious manipulations. So I don't know, maybe they're gonna throw a curveball. Maybe these are all red herrings. We're supposed to think they're manipulations, but it's actually something completely different. I don't know. I'm waiting for the twist here because we're only 2 episodes in. It's too early for a twist. I'm expecting that maybe episode 4 or 5 we'll get the big twist. That's how a story arc goes. But in the meantime, let me know in the comments down below. I don't know, what do you see coming? Let's wildly speculate. I think it's really fun to kind of guess where we think this is going. Personally, I still think this is going to be a Tale of the Body Thief. It's prequel because we know Raglan James is in this series. We haven't met him yet, but we know he is. And we're talking about stealing from the Talamaska and Project Chrysalis. Like, there's a lot of, clues here. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like. If you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe. And if you want cool exclusive content, including early access to videos and a book club, you can consider becoming a channel member or a patron. Links for that are in the description down below. And on that note, I'll see you guys soon. Goodbye!